Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where you join me today for a bit of a drag race between these two. I am of course here in Texas on the drag strip at Hennessey during the Where's Shmee US Edition Tour. Today though, to put my Shelby GT500 up against the quarter-mile supercar drag racing heavyweight that is the McLaren 765LT, and I think we can say already which way this is going to go. The question is, by how much? And that's what we're going to see over a series of drags that we will do between the two cars, the $100,000 or so Shelby GT500, the ultimate muscle car, and then $500,000 or so of McLaren supercar. I think it's pretty obvious that these are two very different cars. They do make about the same power though. 765 horsepower, 760 horsepower. Just this weighs almost twice as much as that, which of course does not help it, and they have very different setups. The front engine, the rear mid-engine, very different cars in so many ways. The 765LT being the hardcore track-focused version of McLaren's Super Series, very much using technology from the Senna, for example, being a track weapon in every possible way. Carbon fiber tub, brake steer, twin turbocharged 4-litre V8, whereas this is a proper American muscle car, 5.2-litre supercharged V8, all the power to the rear wheels. Both of the cars do actually have 7-speed dual clutch transmissions, but this is less about the weight savings, more about the brutish power and force, just pushing it, propelling it down the drag strip as it is going to do so shortly. Now on paper, this should do a quarter mile, as we know from runs that have been done, in something like 9.5 seconds. That should take about 10.5 seconds. But what is that like in reality? What is the difference between $100,000 of the carbon fiber track pack on the Shelby GT500, or like I said, $400,000 plus options on the McLaren 765LT. Now this particular car is a very highly spec'd car. It's in a beautiful colour combination. Wouldn't normally be my first choice, but the silver and the way you get the darker sections highlighting some of the aero looks incredible, as does the contrast against all of the exposed carbon fiber for the louvers, the front splitter, the mirror caps, and that roof snorkel, which is oh so incredibly cool. Back here we've got the gigantic active rear spoiler, you've got the quad tailpipes of the exhaust system below, the car that Hennessey are kindly letting us use for the purpose today. It's going to be driven by Alex from Hennessey, who does the videos over on their channel. He'll take the wheel of the 765LT, I'm going to take the wheel of my GT500, but before that I'm going to take this for a little run, get a small feel for what the 765LT is like. I have driven one once before on track at Silverstone. I have passengered with Brooks from Drag Times, who has been setting some extraordinary quarter-mile times in his car, but for a bit of fun out, and this car, by the way, has the Senna carbon fiber bucket seats. For a bit of fun out, I'm going to take this car myself, go and do a few quick laps around the private track that Hennessey have here. So now that I'm in, let's get it started. There we go, and let's take it for a little drive. Obviously, this is very familiar to me, having spent a lot of time in McLarens, including my Senna, on which there's a lot in common, including the folding dashboard display. You can press the button and tuck that down should you wish. Put it into the mode where you're just concentrating on what's up in front of you, out down the strip. We're going to go for a quick run around the block. Press it into drive nice and easily. We've got the active dynamics panel, give that a press, and we're in sport mode on these, which is actually the default setting, but at least now we have the manual shifting, electric park brake. Let's take this for a little drive, and I can tell you, compared to a 720S, this is a lot louder, and you hear a lot more emotional sound out of the exhaust from it as well. I mean, this is not at the top of the rev range. Obviously we hear any little stone bouncing up and pinging off the carbon fiber tub. That's what makes the cars that McLaren produce quite so light. The shifts are almost instant. But McLaren, for the 765LT, made the ratios of the gearbox so short that you have this sensation that you're constantly flipping straight from one gear into the next, into the next, into the next. But the flip side of that, the effect, is that on the drag strip, it goes so quickly down that first quarter mile, it's just ludicrous. And times in these cars, as we've seen even on my channel as well, with some light modifications, have just been, it is quite bumpy, have just been monstrously fast. I'm going to turn up the AC a little because it is very hot right now, and I want these fans to be blowing to cool down. We'll have to turn that off to do the races. But let's head for this little road course almost that we have around the outside here at Hennessey. Always quite an interesting place to bring cars around because you get to feel a lot of what the suspension is up to. Goodness, it's so fast, and you feel like you're right over the front nose. You've got so much control hydraulic suspension setup on the McLarens has always been wonderful in every car, and it's what's drawn me to so many of them as well. Going over the little jump, but pushing on through some of these corners, the pace that this can carry, and there we get the bang out of the exhaust as well. Wow. This is insanely fast. So what I'm going to have to try is just a little bit of a harder acceleration, being careful of my own GT500 as we come around past it just here, onto the runway, straight to the wheels. What is this thing? What is that performance? It's so freaking fast! It is the king of the supercars on the drag strip. In fact, out of every supercar in production specification form that's out there, this is like the fastest. The SF90 and this together taking that crown. I'm just completely blown away every time just experiencing that. The only thing is that these center bucket seats are so firm, and in this, which is less of a focus machine like the Senna is, I suppose in a way you want them to be a touch softer. Alas, not so, but you can have the car with the slightly softer seats should you wish. You just feel so at home and instantly want to press on. The numbers. And then when we brake, I'm not sure if you can see it, but the air brake flies up into the air behind. You've got that fully up and then it tucks back down as you put your foot down flat, so when we're doing the drag races with DRS, it completely sits flush on the rear deck. I'm going to go round though, and I'm going to try a launch control in a second. Right, we're lining back up against myself at the moment. There's nobody in the GT500. Oh yes, of course, we have stop start. We need to get the engine running. So it's very simple. Track. Actually, for a drag, you really want suspension to be in comfort mode. It does the flippy screen thing. I actually want that open because I just prefer it open. And then you don't really have all that much else that you need to do. You basically press this button, launch. It then says, awaiting full throttle, hold the brake down firmly, hold the throttle down firmly, boost builds, 3, 2, 1, go! Wow, the grip is extraordinary. This is ballistic! That is about a quarter mile with immense traction. The way this gets grip and goes, the GT500 has no chance, absolutely no chance. Even if this squirms around a little bit and that gets perfectly hooked up, this is gone. This is silly. Let's head back round though. It's time for the races. Here we are then, we're lined up on the drag strip. I've taken the left side, Alex from Hennessey is over on the right side in the 765LT, which we know is going to dominate this, but we will try nonetheless a few different things, so stay tuned. But first up will be the traditional launch control to see the difference between the British American muscle car and the ultimate supercar for these purposes. So Alex, are you ready?
I'm ready. This is going to be exciting. This thing is bonkers fast, so it'll be fun.
That is for sure. All right, let's get waved in, and then it's drag race time. Launch control, go. I got a good launch for this car, but look at that! Look at that! This thing is crazy! 765LT is just off like a rocket, and this is fast. In a quarter mile, it does about 130 miles an hour. But that does 150, and the way it just pulled away from me. That thing is a rocket ship. You are so fast, I don't stand a chance.
The traction control is so good. It wants to propel you forward no matter what.
Yeah, I can see it even straight off the line. It just takes off, launches away, and keeps going and keeps going. And any wishful thinking I have of trying to catch up, well, that's just gone. That's a distant thought. And heading back around with the 765 in front of me as we go over the jump with the soft suspension from the drag strip mode, That thing just looks so good on the tarmac. Awesome specification, the contrast of the carbon against the silver paintwork. This thing just sounds like a hooligan's delight, and that is exactly what it is. But I tell you what, this time, I'm going to go a touch early. He's probably still going to catch, but I'm going to try going a touch early and see what happens. Okay, it is time for the second run. If we can get the start, and then, yeah, we'll give it a go. Now is when I'm going to cheat a little bit. So he's on the launch. Build the revs. Go! Oh, I didn't really get the traction. Cheating does me nothing. Look at that. I need something else. This doesn't work. I think it serves me right. I tried to jump the start to go a little bit ahead and I still couldn't get any traction, and then you went flying by just the same anyway.
This thing is brutal.
The difference between supercar and muscle car. I mean, the 765LT is as fast as these things come when talking about supercars on the drag strip. They've been setting some extraordinary quarter-mile times and everything, accelerations and everything. This is a very, very quick car when you consider what it is, but it's so far behind something like that. It is so far behind. I mean, and we're talking on effectively normal tarmac. It's not a prepped surface. Ah, this is madness. That car is so phenomenally quick. So, for round 3, we're just gonna do a roll. I'm gonna roll through. I'm gonna start from back before, and he'll go when I go past, and I'm sure he's still gonna get me. I think the 765LT will still fly through. This time around then, for the third run, I guess I'm gonna be pulling back to roll through, and you're gonna launch when I get to you. And it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, let's do it. I think it'll be interesting.
We'll give it a go. We'll give it a go. So, back I go. This just feels wrong. And he's going to launch when I shoot through. All right. I guess I'm lined up. Are you ready? And I'll do a launch.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I'll count down on the radio then, so you know when I'm coming. 3, 2, 1. Launch. Through I go. He's taken off. Is he going to catch me, or did I go just far enough ahead? I think I went just far enough ahead. A tiny extra stretch and he would have had it. That's the scary thing. I just completely cheated and I was through, and he still would have caught me. I'm just watching you catching up and catching up and catching up. Absolutely incredible how fast the 765LT is. For driving back this time, I'm going to pop it into track mode because I need a little bit more grip from the McLaren suspension. There we go. Oh, feels much firmer. The gearbox in this, considering the car, considering everything about it, the way this rides and drives is really, really good. But it's nothing for that. It's nothing up against the 765LT. Even the braking performance is great.
That was awesome fun. That was absolutely awesome fun. Look how flat that thing is through the corners. Wow!
Safe to say, that very much went one way. This car is so astronomically fast. It makes a normally quite fast car with 760 horsepower, let's not forget, seem like it is standing still. When we leave from the line together, it is gone. It just shoots off into the distance every time as well. Without fail, the 765LT hooks up, gets on the move, and then even when I do the rolling start driving through, it's still closing down on me, and only a case of time until it's going to sail on by and just disappear off into the distance onto a top speed well over 200 miles an hour. You look at the two cars side by side, of course one is a muscle car, one is a serious supercar, but the difference from $100,000 to $500,000 is astonishing. This is so fast, it's hard to get your head around. The 765LT is the ultimate champ of the drag strip at the moment. That and the SF90, as I said, but this car looks awesome. It drives incredibly well. Honestly, it's mind-blowing. And if I didn't have the McLaren Senna in my garage, on which this is heavily, well, quite similar, we could say, I would certainly be wanting to acquire one of these, maybe the Spider in the future, because driving it is just out of this world. Don't get me wrong, for a trip like we're doing right now, that's much more useful, filled with luggage. Well, not at the moment, we just took all of our bags out, but filled with luggage for the drive across the United States, whereas this would be able to do it, and this would probably be more economical along the way as well. Interesting point, that one, but with significantly less luggage space, so not really the same purpose. All I can tell you today is that was awesome fun. A big thanks to Alex, a big thanks to the team here at Hennessey. Driving this car, doing those drag races, just epic to see how fast this car really is. For now though, that is all. Thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I appreciate your support an awful lot, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!